Straight off the back of an attempt to take over government, and as the legalities of the adjourning of Parliament were still being debated, Parliament Speaker Job Pomat came into the picture, declaring that the adjournment a few days ago was wrong.
Me come na me look lo display motion without notice. Me check him Hansard or proceedings for Parliament. Me check him standing order. Me check him organic law long calling of the meetings for Parliament all this plana. Time me check him over this la. Me look him also. This la motion and me no straight, in order, behind him law. So, based on that, this la motion and me no straight, also me talk. Meaning also, time motion and this la motion and me no straight in Parliament, only make him this la Parliament is still. This last Parliament is still in session, adjourned yet.
Basically, Pomat said the call to adjourn Parliament should have been made by a minister, not the opposition.
Section 218 law, organic law. And we talk straight also. A minister that's all in up sing out him. Ask him adjournment of Parliament. Talk any other member of Parliament. So the honorable opposition leader, minister. So time you can suspend him standing order, no Parliament. But you don't have to suspend him organic law. Louis him standing order. Because organic law, and picking law constitution,
Pomat then recalled Parliament while the opposition camp with a sizable chunk of the House was still in Vanimo. And just next door at the courts during Parliament session, there was a flurry of activity. A member of the Vanimo camp, former Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, tried to challenge the reconvening of Parliament. After 2 attempts to verbally apply failed, he was told to refile the application and have the case heard at a later date in the Supreme Court. O'Neill's argument is that the Speaker had no right to override an adjournment passed by the majority of MPs.
This has never happened before. A Prime Minister knowingly and willingly, with the colluding of the Speaker, calling Parliament without Parliament approving it. The simple error that they are mentioning that the Minister is the only one who can adjourn Parliament is flawed. Flawed in the sense that in every occasion, over the past 45 years, only the members of Parliament can adjourn Parliament by a resolution and a motion on the floor. When in fact Belden Nama on Friday moved the motion to suspend standing orders. When you suspend standing orders, that means the standing orders do not apply. So that's why members stand up, giving him the authority to suspend standing orders. 57 members gave him that authority. That is why he moved the motion. So what we are going to do is we are going to go back with the lawyers. We are going to redraft the application to make this Parliament of sitting illegal sitting of Parliament.
And as journalists in Port Moresby waited for the usual budget lockup, where the expenditures and the development budget are broken down and explained, they later found out lockup wouldn't happen this year. Instead, the government MPs walked into the chamber and Ling Stuckey presented the 2021 budget to a half-empty House.
Mr. Speaker, I present the Appropriation General Public Services Expenditure 2021 Bill 2020, B. Appropriation National Parliament 2021 Bill of 2020, and C. Appropriation Judiciary Services 2021 Bill 2020.
The turn of events left many observers confused whether the government was indeed going to pass next year's money plan with just a third of the House present. Peter O'Neill's view on the whole matter: even the passing of the budget with more than 60 MPs in Vanimo was a total abuse of parliamentary process.
So if the government add the numbers, they can pass the budget in 1st of December 2020. Unfortunately, when they know that most of the members, in fact more than half of Parliament, today there are only 42 members of Parliament present in Parliament as we speak, right now at 11 o'clock this morning. 42 members of Parliament. That means another 69 plus members of Parliament are out of the Port Moresby, and they are not able to attend Parliament, which still constitutes a majority of the members mandated by the people. So Marape and the Speaker are making a mockery of the parliamentary system, the mandate of our people.
Inside Parliament, Treasurer Ling Stuckey dedicated 5 pages of the budget speech to what he called shameful politics of the opposition and its government defectors. Tossing colourful words on the floor, he labelled the opposition as terrorists and described the move as a blatant and illegal grab for power on the eve of the budget session.
Mr. Speaker, once again, it is an honour for me and my people of Kavieng and as Treasurer in the Marape government to stand here in Her Majesty's House to introduce the 2021 budget. This is my second budget and the 7th time making a major economic address to the Parliament as Treasurer. Consolidating the vision in times of crises. Mr. Speaker, let me reflect on the extraordinary circumstances surrounding my 2021 budget speech. Last Friday at lunchtime, I was working with economic ministers and hard-working staff from Treasury, Finance and Planning to finalise the 2021 budget. We had gone through extensive consultations, listening to the submissions from businesses and the community, tackling or talking to our education officials, talking to our international colleagues about financing. We believed we had formed a sensible path forward in these extraordinary times. Then I was summoned to the National Parliament chamber. Another round of not just power-hungry, but power-greedy politics that ignored the national interest. Mr. Speaker, sometimes we are our own worst enemy. Last Friday, we saw opportunists led by that infamous National Court terrorist from Vanimo Green abuse our Constitution again, the laws of Parliament again, in a blatant illegal grab for power. This was the most cowboy of attempts to overthrow Prime Minister James Marape and his mandated government. Why would they do this? There was a press conference where some of those that had moved tried to justify their actions. I respect that some were genuine. People can decide to move on based on principles. Some boasted a bit too early about how brilliant their tactics had been.
Second point, I was Minister for Health. He brought a decision on that so-called 10 million on those research proposals without consulting me, one of the most experienced health ministers in this country.
Many were concerned about our economy, our deficits and debt, about losing jobs even. Mr. Speaker, I share those concerns. All of us share those concerns in this House. But as I will set out in my speech, many of these concerns about debt and deficits and a lack of jobs were created by those that had just joined. They underestimate the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic. They look for very easy solutions, and they kid themselves that going backwards to the failed economic policies of the past could somehow take our country forward. What an extraordinary coincidence of cracking down on corruption, of fighting for better resource deals, of responsible budget management, and then less than 24 hours later, we have this embarrassing and shameful grab for power. Mr. Speaker, I know that there are now some honourable men on the other side, decent leaders, competent, and we all shall miss their contributions in the Cabinet. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for your ruling on the illegality of the motion to adjourn Parliament. Section 21A of the Organic Law on the calling of meetings of the Parliament is clear. The time and date for a meeting of the Parliament on motion without notice can only be made by a minister, not leader of the opposition. Game over.
The opposition camp, meanwhile, is mustering its numbers as more MPs travel into the border town. As of last count, Bulolo MP Sam Basil announced the camp had more than 50 MPs, with more government MPs on the way.
So all in all, I can say that government is here, and I'm calling to my other brothers in government right now. You better think twice now that the number is here. Get on the next plane and come to Vanimo. We are still brothers. We will still accept you here. Thank you.
The government, however, says those numbers should be tested on the floor in April.